Greetings, this is starseed Scotty sharing a horoscope of astrology for July 13th, 2018. And like before, I'll do a little screen share to look at the transits of the day. Here we are, planetwatcher.com. So right now, the moon is in Leo, conjunct the North Node. So that's a lot of energy, asking us about our destiny. Where is our heart in regard to our emotions? I have Leo moon natally, so I resonate a lot with this energy. Leo is ruled by the sun, so when the moon's there, that projection of the solar energy is internalized. So let's see what the aspects are. So here we go. There is the moon, 6 degrees, conjunct North Node. One thing, there's a little bit of a fire trine going on. Chiron, Aries, so that's going to swear healing of ourself, our ego. Leo and Aries are quite often about our ego. Aries is more the instinctive part, whereas Leo is a little bit more refined in how we relate our ego with others and our connection to the world. Because the solar energy is how it's a very giving energy, and it's like the sun projects its energy to the earth and allows things to grow in a similar way. What we project in our life to others can allow our life to flourish, and in many ways. Chiron, I think there's a lot of healing though that's required, because we all have wounds in our ego, and Chiron's still squaring Saturn, so over here. So that's really asking us a lot about how we relate our individuality with our structures of society. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing though, I'll clear this, with the moon is the opposition to Mars retrograde. I've been feeling this a lot. My willpower, questioning what is my role in society. Aquarius. Mars is ruled by Aries, so Mars is really our personal power. But when it's in Aquarius, it's like the question that comes to me is, how do we use our personal power, our individual will, in collaboration of groups? Or how we can assist groups, but with our unique abilities. And so I think this retrograde is really asking us to dive deep, to re-examine what we do with our energy, what we do with our projection, what we want to manifest. And I think Mars is, yeah, there's in the T-square here with Jupiter just went direct. I felt it when it went direct. I felt a lot of, because Jupiter's on my Pluto in Scorpio, so it's just a lot of power for me. But it's expansive. Jupiter's naturally ruled by Sagittarius, so there is, and Scorpio is deep, so there's a lot of exploration. So that square to Mars is really questioning, is our will, what is under the surface of our willpower? Because quite often our ego can have its ulterior motives. And Aquarius, yeah, the thing that comes to me is herd mentality, especially with the South Node. South Node quite often is connected with past lives, but also the things that we're used to that we're often addicted to, because the South is the past, and quite often with the moon and the past lives, there's patterns and things that we're addicted to. And when I say herd, what I mean is the herd mentality of society, where what I observe is most people are like well, we're all domesticated to a certain extent, and many people don't even question that. They're like follow, like a herd of sheep or a herd of cattle. There's a certain type of consciousness. I don't mean to be derogatory or judgmental, but it's just what I observe. People, there will be like a kind of group mind, and we all have group minds, but we can either have a group mind with intelligence and our own creativity, which is a higher side of Aquarius, with the Leo, our creative individuality. That's very, very Leo. And adding that, contributing that, like, but if we don't use our individual power and we just kind of get lazy and follow the crowd, then the level of, we're as strong as our weakest link. That's kind of how I see it. And I just see people following each other in like a very, very low consciousness. And it's just part of the times, you know, we've all been conditioned, and a lot of people haven't woken up. A lot of people are just not aware yet, and fair enough. It's not everybody awakens at the same time. So I think Jupiter is asking us to look underneath. What is our intentions? Are we seeking the truth, or are we following the herd? Are we living in lies? Because lies are very easy. We don't have that direct intention for the truth, which what Leo in the North Node is like. The truth is our destiny. The truth is simple, our passion, things that we love to do that helps us in our internal joy, and at the same time helps others, because it's a gift of sharing our passions. Because Mercury is in that conjunction, is 10 degrees away, so it's not really tight in aspect, but Mercury right now is on my rising, and I've been just having a lot of joy and fun, dancing and singing. This is a beautiful expression, because Leo's one of the most creative signs. It's ruled by the sun, and the sun is kind of seen as a creator. Literally creates life. Think of all of the plant life in the world, and the heat, the energy. It's an act of creation, and we have that power potentially. The question is, how will we use it, and how will we use it? So yesterday we had that new moon solar eclipse, but I'll talk about that just after we look at this T-square. The second part of T-square with Mars is Uranus and Taurus, and this is going to be going on for a long time, actually. I believe like several months, maybe even longer, actually, from 2019, I heard an astrologer say. With square to Mars and Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus. I think this is really asking us, Jupiter is like the big picture of like our philosophy, our perspectives, our goals, but Uranus and Taurus is much more practical or earthly. Although Uranus is very airy, and Taurus is just asking us, what are we going to transform and innovate in our everyday experience, our sensual. And for me, I have my draconic Venus, draconic astrology. It's a different type of chart, and I have my Venus and Jupiter at similar degrees here, and I really relate to that because I'm very much into simple pleasures. I like to use, I've got a herbal diet. I probably talked about it, you maybe see my other videos. I really like to use botanicals and body care, essential oils and really nice organic foods, super herbs, super berries, and these amazing things from nature that's very Taurian. And also I like crystals and gemstones and using that for energy. And this can be considered like a kind of Uranus and Taurus energy, where we're using the nature of Taurus for a transformation of Uranus. There's a pun or a meme I like to share. Resistance is fertile. You've seen the Star Trek. There's that the Borg, that race. They're that hive mind, which actually can be related to what I talked about, the herd. I really believe we're in a society where there's a kind of artificial intelligence type thing, and it's a long story I won't get into, but many people can become like that Borg, where there's like a hive mind where everyone's the same. You don't create our reality, then automatically it seems we just go to that hive mind. And I think that T square is really focusing that, because in order to create our, and this actually Uranus and Taurus is squaring Leo as well, and this is actually almost like a grand square part, fixed, grand fixed square. It's kind of loose, but definitely I see it. So if we want to get away from that hive of like becoming like a machine, a cyborg, there's a lot of agendas. Many of you are probably aware of this. We have to create our individual unique ego, Leo, but also our individual sensual self, which would be Taurus. And I've done so much stuff. I've literally transformed my body. I don't eat food anymore. I just have herbs, and the energy I have is off the charts, and it's very eccentric. But I've done it by working with nature. I meditate in nature. I do all these things. I could go on and on. But when I say resistance is fertile instead of futile, it's because fertility is the gift that we've been given in our human body, which is from the Venusian quality. Because Venus is the planet of love, and love is who we are. It's just I will put this in pause. Let's see, where are we? All right, little distraction there. Here we go back to Planet Watcher. So yeah, I was talking about the T square, the grand square actually, between Mars, Uranus, Jupiter, and the Leo, Moon in Leo. So yeah, resistance is fertile. I really believe that the fertility we have it can be sexual energy. That's kind of more Scorpio, but Taurus, being the opposite of Scorpio, is the sensuality. Like when we take care of our body and simple and pleasures, and then we can nourish our ego. And there's a square here, so I think there can be self-indulgence if we do it too much, and same with the ego, we can be narcissistic. So it's really just balance. It's taking care of our individuality so that we can help others. That's the way I like to look at it. So looks like there's a finger of God between to the Mercury and Leo. Yeah, it's quincunx by Neptune, and let's see. Actually, it's not. Well, the finger of God actually is to Venus. Yeah. Venus is in Virgo, which I think she's being much more practical. Virgo is that sign of Earth, mutable Earth. And I think because in Leo, Venus and Leo was kind of like very like having a party and expressing and dancing and singing, and that Venusian pleasure thing, and I think in Virgo she kind of is much more internalized and asking us what can we do to serve, how can we be practical with daily routines, the sixth house stuff, what is our work, what is our service. And this finger of God of the quincunx is to Chiron and Aries and Mars that are both sextiling each other. So yeah, I think this is a lot of discipline, their will of Aquarius and Virgo can have an affinity because they have a mercurial and air. Even though Virgo is earth, it has a kind of Mercury quality. So I think it's like how we think about like how we think about what we're going to do. So Virgo is very practical, and Mars and Aquarius is somewhat asking about what we're doing. And I think with Chiron here, it's the things we do are what we can, the choices we can make for healing our ego, healing the Aryan part of us. That's an interesting one. We'll see how that goes. I guess it's a minor aspect, but so yeah, I mean, the big thing yesterday was this solar eclipse in Cancer, new moon, and it was opposing Pluto retrograde. And yeah, that was like one of the things that came to me about that was the moon in Cancer with the sun was really like this emotional energy of like, what is our home? How do we nurture ourselves? And opposing to Pluto is the big picture of what is our responsibility. And I think when we balance both of those, we can nourish ourselves, nurture ourselves, and have kind of connection with caring to be responsible. So an example is in my workplace at a health food store, I really am big on being empathic when I'm being of service with others. So I have a nurturing quality where I kind of tune into the feelings, the emotional energy of the health food store I work at. And I see that as a responsibility. So I'm doing it in that kind of Capricornian, disciplined way. And I really believe it's transforming my soul because by learning about the emotions, it's allowing me to communicate on a level that my mind, to me, is kind of beyond the mind. The emotions are so powerful. They're like a compass. And yeah, I think there's a lot of trauma we have in our emotional body. It can go thousands of years probably in past lives, but also just childhood stuff. And Pluto is pretty, I think, in Capricorn, pretty disciplined with emotions. And the dark side of that can be we can cut ourselves off from emotions. And I see this in most people. They're so traumatized and stressed that they don't open their heart. They don't express their honesty. They just kind of project either anger or fear or other such things. And Cancer really wants us to have space, because home is a big aspect of Cancer. And if we could find home in our workplace, in the Capricornian place, then I think we can really balance that out and transform what Pluto has a motto of evolve or die. And dying to me is just basically facing the karmic consequences that are unpleasant in life. But when we do the work, when we work with Saturn and Pluto and these large transformational energies, then we get rewarded. I really, really believe this, because there's laws. There's laws of physics. I think there's more moral laws actually as well that we when we abide by them, we do the right thing to the best of our abilities, then we will climb the ladder. But I think can be in a spiritual way, not just for greed and money, but I think in evolution. This is where the Aquarian energy is going to come, and Mars and Aquarius is really focusing on this. So yeah, that's really the main things. Yeah, Mercury, this is another aspect. Mercury's been squaring Jupiter. So that's quite a big challenge to asking us about our minds, our heart, our ego identity of expression of ourself. Jupiter, yeah, I think it's just asking us what is true, what is lies. Yes, Jupiter is sextiling Pluto, so it's really about how our expression fits into how we can transform ourselves. Because everything we do counts. I like to say every second is a choice, what we do. And Mercury in Leo is really being creative. I think it's just amazing. Like, sometimes I sing to myself, and I like to be creative and think of the wonderful things that I can imagine. Because Leo, this actually, yeah, it's Mercury is quincunxing Neptune, and Neptune's kind of, that quincunx needs an adjustment because Neptune's not really in the ego. It wants to surrender to that spiritual. It's kind of ego denying in a way. But when we surrender our ego in a service to something spiritual, then I think there could be a wonderful marriage where we become like a conduit for spirit. One other thing I quickly want to show is, Serenu. I'll just get to the page here. Well, you know what? I'll do it another time. I'll keep it at this. I hope this was enjoyable to someone. I'm really intending on doing these more often, either every day or several times a week. So thanks for listening, and until next time, aloha.